Hi, welcome. My name is Kevin, and this is the Intuitive Mind. We are trying to connect with as many people as possible because the mind is always wanting to have a little bit more input, information, and also something to do. And what we're doing today, I would like to introduce you to my wife Jasmine, who is.
I am psychic medium,
Yes.
aka known as crazy for 20 years of my life. But yeah, psychic medium.
So today we're going to talk about what Jasmine is doing. So on a daily basis, what kind of experiences she has, and how Jazz is maybe possible or able to explain a couple of things to us. Questions we might have, or things we would like to just find out. So yeah, let's talk about your daily routine, for example. So when you have someone who would like to speak to the other side, for example. Yeah? So they come to you and they say, look, maybe I would like to speak to someone. I don't really know who to speak to. How would that conversation be like with that person?
I encourage people to go into a session if they want to connect with their past loved one blind, i.e. they're not expectant of a certain person to come through. That certain person will almost always come through. They will come through, but they might not always come through first. They might need some extra support, they may need their father, they may need somebody else. So if somebody was to come to me saying, I want to speak to my past loved ones and I don't know who, I would say, have a call, let's make a connection. And usually within the first 3 to 5 minutes, I have all the spirits that they want to talk to in the room with me, pretty much fighting for attention for that person. So it goes two ways. Sometimes you have people who just want to speak to a specific loved one. And that's much easier as a medium because I can just call them forward. When we go into sessions blind, it's so much more validating for the sitter or the client because you don't have any comprehension who they are, you don't have access to any of their information, you've never been able to see their house before that session, but somehow you can remote view their house, you can speak to their past loved one, you can give evidence and validation of things that they're doing that day or things that they've been doing since their passing that I can possibly know. So yeah, we would just go into it as an explorer. Really, you're going to it as an explorer.
And how would you say, how do you get this confirmation that you are really speaking to someone to the other side? Or, for example, if you would do a reading for someone, how is that experience for you?
As a medium, it's really good when you have somebody who's very open and very honest. So you say, okay, this person passed in their early 70s. Well, actually, they're in their mid-70s, late 70s. Say that to me, that's fine, okay, that's fine. But when you get things bang on, i.e. you see tattoos, you explain specific tattoos that they had that you couldn't possibly know.
You see that in your mind?
You see it, yeah, I see it on the wall. Oh. So when I'm doing a reading with somebody, I look to the wall, and when I'm looking to the wall, it's like I'm looking through here. I'm looking through this space. Or I'm looking at you and I'm looking through this space. Sometimes you can see spirit physically in front of you, but it's not as you think it is. It's mainly like fragmentations of light, static, density of energy that you can physically see with your eyes, but it's not in any shape or form the same as what you see in your mind's eye. When you get specific letters, cards, names, stuff like that, you're looking through this specific portal that we all have.
So as you are my wife, obviously I know a couple of things. So you've been telling me that you had these kinds of visions or these kinds of like things you've seen, you've maybe even heard throughout your life, but you could never really pinpoint why and how that is until actually something happened. And after that, you started to
understand what it was. Yeah, so it's a long story, actually. I don't know if we're prepared for how long the story is. But all my life, I had, not in a bad way, it's just quite a long story. I just don't know how long we have really with this, but pretty much my whole life, yes, I've been subject to kind of poltergeist activity, dark voices. Could be seen as borderline personality disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, psychosis, all these different kind of conceptual voices speaking to me all my life, touching me, throwing me out of bed. Intense kind of experiences that were just attributed or connected to the psychiatric field, i.e. you've got psychosis, or i.e. you're having another episode. And I was hospitalised quite a few times, and I had a very good friend when I was hospitalised who I lost contact with. It was a really, really good friend. Saw the world like me, very psychic, very open, just pretty much like the same as me, like a brother. Like it was a very strange experience. Anyway, the voices in my head were so terrible at the time. Oh, my stuff's fallen over.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's this this stick that doesn't stay up. Yeah, so he took his own life last year. I hadn't spoken to him for 11 years. Lost contact with him. Took his own life last year in August, and I went through this huge cycle of grief that you wouldn't normally go through with somebody that you aren't inherently karmically connected to. I went through this huge cycle of grief, of blame, of shame, feeling like I was dead. Like I have a partner, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm proud of my life. I'm proud to where I've got to, but I'm still feeling this inexplainable grief over this person, this best friend. And after 3 or 4 days of feeling this grief, one of my friends, who's now my assistant, actually said to me, "Why don't you just talk to him?" And I said, "Never thought of that. I never thought of that." So I spoke to him, and then all of a sudden, after 20 years of having set different voices in my head, I had one new voice, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's what I've been doing this whole time." It was just sense and spirit and hearing spirit, and some of them weren't always happy, and yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely understandable.
It was tough for us both. It was so tough for us both because I was just like going through this crazy spiritual awakening breakthrough, and you were just like terrified.
I was
You were
terrified.
scared. You were
I was
scared.
well. I have my own personal experience with the other side, but mine was more dark and not really nice. My family is quite, well, but so I just think when I saw the whole situation, I was just trying to be as supportive as possible and help
You were very, very supportive, incredibly supportive, but fearful.
Yes, definitely.
Well, which is hard.
Maybe quickly share my experience that we have. So I had all throughout my life, I always thought there's something with me, some sort. If I would concentrate, I could feel a hand on my shoulder. I had a couple of situations in my life where I should have just died, and it's just I didn't. Pretty much. Long story short, when Jazz connected to this, it turned out to be 2 of my ancestors who were with me. And in the moment Jazz made the connection, I closed my eyes and I could just feel these 2 people just hugging me, like Sarah and Anshom. And it was. I have never in my life felt this kind of like love. I can't explain it.
It's something that
I couldn't explain it. Sorry, I was just crying uncontrollably, but not because I was sad, just because I was so happy and grateful. And I think this is one of my missions in life now. Once you really have had this experience yourself, might have been Jazz has spoken to someone in your family that has passed and says things that...
Or you've had a visitation dream or first-hand experience that is undoubtedly them. They often show themselves as younger past loved ones in dreams. People always say to me, "Oh no, he died when he was 70. I was like, "Yeah, but do you want to show yourself to a strapping young woman like me as a 70-year-old? No, sometimes they want to show themselves in their best. And the visitation dreams that some people get of their past loved ones are generally when their loved ones are younger. And that's how I see spirit too. I have to specifically ask the spirit, "When did you pass? Show me when you passed," to get a deep understanding. But you don't get that in dreams. But you'll have your own validation going on in real life that makes you believe beyond all doubt that this is real. And it's not one that can be actualized or perceived by the mind. So it's funny that this is an intuitive mind and this is trying to rationalize and analyze it, which can be done to a certain extent, but it can never be fully conceptualized until you experience it, I think.
Exactly. So I think that we are questioning, and I was questioning this for a long time. Like, obviously I had these feelings or these protections or whatever you want to call it behind me, and we have been told by our parents, our school, our religion, whatever, that that is something that we shouldn't be looking into. And this is why I think it's important, because once you had the opportunity to look through the veil in a sense of like getting something positive done, there's something that's called the Akashic records, for example, that you can remove things from, isn't that true?
It's all pretty much it's all interlinked.
It's like a cheat code.
It gets so big. I don't know how big we can get in there. It's not a cheat code in any shape or form. It's not, but it can be seen
like that. It does sound like a cheat code.
It sounds like one. So cheat codes, I would say, is certain numbers that you write on yourself or or do like numerological sequences that are codes which can cheat your reality. Like they can, and I'm not saying it's a good thing if it's just to benefit yourself. It's not a good thing. You shouldn't do it. It's not going to do good. Anyway,
that's a very very important part, because with have to quote Spider-Man here. Sorry, with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
But wasn't there something you were talking about, like the Akashic records? What's that?
Yeah. So the Akashic records is like a universal database of everything that has been, is now, and kind of are projected to be. It's a place where you go to kind of analyze the next life, but it's also the place that you can get to if you're a psychic medium, if you work with the light, you want to heal yourself, you want to heal humanity. It's a place you can go to better understand your karmic past lives, your karma, the challenges that you've been through, what they mean to you, who you were before, how to explore different avenues of yourself, how to change karmic correlations in which you've been with somebody for thousands of years, you know, and you always have this problem. You always have this problem of competition, or you always have this problem of turbulence or something. We always, me too, me and Kevin, you know. But by going to past lives, by understanding, okay, actually we were brothers, and before that we may have been lovers, but the last time we were brothers, and the energy of that is kind of recycled and brought forward into our present life. So when we realise that's from a past life, I understand that now. We can let it go, and we can release that guilt, we can release that shame, and we can move forward. Just before I go, sorry, inexplainable fears in cars, cars or drowning or water. No doubt you will go back to the Akashic records and you will find why you are scared. And
I think it's a very important thing for the intuitive mind to ask, and have to understand first of all that there have been many lives before this. This is a real thing. Like after having the gift that we spoke about before and having the confirmation from a different source, we have, or just has had the opportunity to look into many people's past lives.
Yeah.
But understanding that this is something that is real, is out of the box thinking. This is definitely out of the box.
It's not out of the box thinking. It's completely rational and normal thinking to think that we just go and pass and die, and there isn't something that isn't unkillable within us. It's understandable, and God created us. It's not a strange concept. In fact, it's a concept that was removed from the Bible. For Roman rule, it was in the Bible. Reincarnation was in the Bible. God is good. God is real. This doesn't mean that God doesn't exist. No, God wants to experience Himself. God wants His children to experience themselves over and over and over again until we learn. The only way we do that is by coming down here to this vibration, to this school, and it's very similar to the concept of Dolores Cannon. She's a scientist, psychotherapist. She's a doctor in her fields, and she's done thousands, if not of past life regression that proves beyond all doubt that we are constantly incarnated. And we are constantly incarnated because when we're up there, once we pass over, it's hard for us to forgive. It's hard for us to let go. We're being told, come back and you can make this better with your brother. You can be in a situation in which you never hurt each other again, or you can be with your mum again, and you can be a mum to your mother. You can teach your mother what it is to be a good mum, and you are kind of veered and pushed to come back down. And most souls want to come back down. Most souls spend 20-30 years maximum there in this perfection, in this light, if they have done good, and then they're like, this is boring. I want to come back, which is just beyond me. But
that definitely fits into what I believe, that this where we are now, the Earth, is pretty much like a playground where you have to, or you are allowed to feel negative emotions, like for example sadness. Because and that's very important. If you are able to understand sadness at its fullest, you know actually what happiness is. If you know how it feels like to be alone, you will cherish to be with other people. If you have been deprived of love, and you will just want love. And I do feel like when you get up to a higher state of consciousness, that these emotions, all these positive emotions, they just dilute to a degree. So you just want to go back to Earth to make these experiences again.
Yeah, I just think it's hard. Like, the earthly plane is the best plane we can learn. You know, we can experience love, we can experience hatred, we can experience deceit, deception, we can experience, you know, mass awakening. We have a full spectrum of everything that we can experience here. When we pass and when we go, we don't have as full spectrum of what we can experience. We don't really feel, you know, that there are some spirits who pass, they're murdered, or they take their own life, or there's an accidental overdose, and, you know, something like that, and then they are very much bound to the earth. So they are almost like invisible people. They still have the anger, they still have the rage, they still have the confusion, they still have the loss, but they cannot be seen. And they are in our earth, and they are trying to desperately knock on our door and say, hi, I'm here, help me get a little bit lighter, help me go up, help me get up. I can still watch you when I'm up there, but I can't get up there unless you let go of me. I can't get up there unless you forgive me. You know, so
forgiving is a good thing.
This cannot be all. This is very sporadic. This conversation. I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to come back to the Akashic records. Actually, just to get back to the topic. So, when we talk about the Akashic records, how do you get there?
How do I get there? I've spent quite a lot of time building trust with angelic forces, with deities, with Mother Mary, with Jesus Christ, with Angel Gabriel, with Angel Michael, with Angel Metron. I've spent a long time getting to know them. I spent a long time journeying there and not being let in, and finding ways to navigate it and finding what I needed to do to get in. And I found the best way to get in is to respect them and is to give them a sacred prayer 3 times. So I won't say it and accidentally open up the Akashic records, but it's.
We can just do another video on how to do these things. I just want to try and, just for the viewers to
there's a holy,
get an understanding how.
Yeah, sorry. So there's a holy prayer that you say once out loud, twice in your head. You have to do it 3 times. If you scrimp and you don't do it 3 times, they won't let you in. You've got to have permission from whoever you're trying to access records to. You can access yours, undoubtedly, but once you get there... So what I do is I open the records, and it's almost like I'm climbing the stairs, and I get to a library, and I'm in the library, and there's librarians, which are like angelic beings, and I'm calling to the librarians, and I'm asking them, hey, I need to check out this most recent past life, or I want to check out my correlations with this person. Sometimes they can say access denied, and it comes through my third eye. The visions come through my third eye. The words of the angelic forces come through one of my ears now. Maybe both at some point will open up, but I've just got one at the moment, which is fine. It works. But that's how I do it, yeah. It's all through clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairvoyance. We all have one of them. We're all born with one of them, at the bare minimum, and we have to master that one before we can get the rest.
So if you want to know a little bit more about the Akashic records, or want to hear it from other people who have worked with Jasmine before, you can go to Magick with Jasmine. This is...
I'm sure Kevin can put it down below. Maybe you can figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Definitely
put it down below. And... also, if you would like to have a different topic, you would like to have some more information of, write us in the comments. Like, share if you like, and I think we leave it with this today. And,
yes, well, I think
talk about some other stuff.
I think this is great. I think this is like an open exploratory conversation to see if anybody else would be interested in these types of topics. If something specifically interests you, i.e. past loved ones, communicate with past loved ones, or Akashic record work, let us know so maybe Kevin can ever find different talks or different avenues to open your mind up more.
Because I did say in the beginning we're going to talk about remote viewing, but we were just really trying to have a conversation about the things that are going on with and trying to find like an easy way in, because I don't think it's really...
I think the easiest way in is we all are born and we all die. Do we die? No, we don't die.
Well, we die, but this body dies, but
our personality traits, our desires, our love, our memories, it all exists in an alternative plane in which we are also simultaneously living in. So they don't leave us. Yes, the body dies, but they do not leave us. And I think that's the most important, before we go back by accident, that's the most important intrinsic detail to remember as you go through your life. Because you'll go through your life and you will face loss. And unless you're able to accept the fact that they are truly there, they will be lost forever. Okay? They will be lost forever. And I don't want to sound severe, but this is something really important that your mind cannot rationalise.
Yeah.
But your intuition and your understanding can.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Very, very good. Then on that, thank you so much for your time
Yes,
today.
thank you for having me on here.
Of course.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you could enjoy this a little bit, and we're sending love. All the best. Bye.
Bye.